I remember it like yesterday.
A grisly discovery was made inside an Illinois home.
I was literally picking up my bags to walk out the door to go to my mother's house.
We're being told by the medical examiner that the victims include an adult woman and an adult man.
And David was going out to train in Florida, and he called me like, can you come out here instead of going? And I was like, okay, sure.
The home where the bodies were found belongs to the family of singer and Academy Award-winning actress Jenifer Hudson. Now,
that one decision, that one thing.
You would have been there.
You know what happened? Did she fall?
No, I couldn't get home from work. There's a bullet hole in our front door.
So I would have been home, sleep in the bed with her.
So do you think about that? I could have been in that house. And do you think he would have?
On October 24th, 2008, nothing could have prepared Jenifer Hudson for the discovery her sister was about to make. At around 3 p.m., Jenifer's older sister Julia returns from work to the Hudson family home, a place where they have lived for most of their lives. As she walks to the entrance, she expects to be greeted by her 7-year-old son Julian, who stayed at home from school that day, being watched over by her mother Darnell and her older brother Jason. But as she is about to step inside, she is shocked to find a bullet hole in the front door. She opens the door and is immediately struck by the sight of her mother's lifeless body. In a frenzy, Julia runs out of the house and calls 911.
What happened?
I don't know. She's on the floor. I see blood coming from her head.
Is she breathing?
I don't know. I didn't touch her. I just went out the house.
While on the call, she realizes she doesn't know where the rest of her family is and asks a neighbor to look inside the house.
Where's my brother at? What happened? Look at the house. I don't know what Julian is, but nothing.
What she would later find out is that her brother Jason was shot dead in his bedroom and her son Julian had been abducted.
The mother and brother of Oscar-winning actress and singer Jenifer Hudson were found murdered in the family's home. That tragedy is compounded by the growing mystery over what happened to Hudson's 7-year-old nephew.
Only an animal would do something like that, man. A heartless person, man. A child innocent, man. He deserved nothing like this.
Little Julian, very very smart child. Somebody, anybody, whoever, just let him go.
Sadly, gunshots are so common here that when they rang out Friday morning, no one bothered calling 911, and that ended up giving the killer what amounted to a 7-hour head start with his little captive, Julian King, in tow.
The Amber Alert for Julian King is in effect. Anyone who's seen a white 1994 Chevy Suburban is urged to call police.
All I ask, just let my baby go. Please. He's 7. Let my son go. Please, that's all I ask.
Outside the family home, neighbors are sharing the grief.
And just let Jenifer know that we care. That's all.
People in the neighborhood say they remember voting for Jenifer Hudson when she was on American Idol. They, of course, prayed for her and they wanted something good to happen for her then. Now they say they're holding out hope, of course, for their 7-year-old loved one to be returned here safely in Inglewood.
The tragedy comes at a time when the Oscar-winning Dreamgirls star was living the dream.
Not only I can do it, but you can do it too.
But she still relied heavily on her close-knit family to help stay grounded.
Even as a rising star, Jenifer would constantly return home to be with her family. The last time she was with them was the weekend before everything happened.
My nephew Julian was sitting, reading a book in the living room. It was always me and my tug-a-bear. That's what I called him. I was playing the piano, and my mother sat on one side of me, and my brother sat on the other side. And I was singing them a song. And it was just us, being family.
But on the day of the murders, even though she was far away, she knew something was wrong.
I was in Tampa, Florida with my fiance. He asked me to come out and visit him, and so I did on my off time. I woke up about 10 or 11 in the morning, and I noticed that I'm looking to see the text from my mom, and it wasn't any. If I'm waking up around 10 or 11 o'clock and there's no message from her at all, that was just really odd to me. That was the first thing I said. My mom didn't text me. Maybe she's busy, I don't know. So I remember falling back to sleep, and when I woke up, my sister called my fiance's phone, and he couldn't understand what she was saying because she was so hysterical. And I grabbed the phone from him, and that's when she told me.
She understood what I was there, and she was screaming, and she flew in. She flew in right away.
As Jennifer arrived in Chicago on the night of the murders, the press waited for a comment, but she remained silent. One of the first things she does is to go to the Cook County Examiner's office, where she has the devastating task of identifying her mother and her brother's bodies.
It's all like a blur. It was surreal. It was like I was outside of myself.
Without giving herself time to grieve, she decides to put all her focus on finding her nephew.
$100,000 reward if anybody saw him, found him, knew where he was. We were just trying anything we could to get him back.
The only thing the family really feels will comfort them is having Julian in their arms, knowing that he's safe and okay.
Just hope they just find out who did it. And when they find him, they get what they deserve.
You knew immediately who had done it.
We all did.
You all did.
In this picture taken just a few months earlier, Jennifer is standing next to the man she would later blame for her family's murder, her brother-in-law, William Balfour.
You told the police, go get him.
He had an argument with my sister, and he went up to her job and he told her, I'm gonna take Julian. And Julia went home and told my mother, and my mother said, over my dead body. That's exactly what happened.
She didn't want me to marry him. I married him.
She told you not to marry him.
Yeah, she told me, she said, look, I'll fly you around the world. I'll do whatever you want. Just don't marry him.
Balfour was very angry with the family after being thrown out, that he often went on angry tirades, and this man was prone to violence.
The police run with this lead and are able to use William's phone number to triangulate his location. They pinpoint him miles away from the crime scene at his new girlfriend's house.
When the police entered that home, William Balfour attempted to flee.
We heard a loud bang. The police kicked the back door open because they came in full force and put me right on the ground.
For the Hudson family, grief mixes with hope.
Authorities tell that the suspect is in custody. William Balfour is being questioned by police, but Hudson's 7-year-old nephew Julian King, who Balfour is suspected of abducting, still has not been found.
Why am I here?
You're here because your mother-in-law, your ex-mother-in-law, and ex-brother-in-law were found dead. And we're interested in this kid. Where's the kid?
I don't know where he is. I don't.
Let me put it to you this way. That little boy turns up DEAD somewhere, you're gonna have a problem.
What you mean? I'm gonna have a problem.
The Amber Alert remains active, as does the police investigation. There is still no sign of the white Chevy SUV.
And on October 27th, they finally had the break they were hoping for.
Early Monday morning, several miles away from the original crime scene, a couple walking their dog realized an SUV parked on their block was the one that police had been looking for.
And he went and looked at the license plates, and it matched what was on the TV.
What you're looking at is video of the white SUV. People from the medical examiner's office are going to that car right now. We understand that there is a possibility that the 7-year-old nephew, Julian King, may have been found dead this morning.
For the second time in 2 days, Jennifer goes to the Cook County Examiner's office, but this time it was to identify her 7-year-old nephew.
It literally just takes a part of you. And he was such a bright little boy. He was so smart. He, I can't even say it. It's like, how could that happen? This really happened? That's when you know it's real, when you find yourself saying it or having to say it.
Saying the words,
right.
My family was murdered, makes it real.
Right.
Mourners gather at a Chicago church for a private funeral for Jennifer Hudson's slain mother, brother, and 7-year-old nephew.
I can't even get over, like, who do I grieve for first? Of course, I'm gonna think of my mother, because it's my mother. So I think of her a lot. Next, I think of Julian, my brother. I have moments where it's bits and pieces, like it's too much. You're confused, your mind is confused, your feelings are confused. You don't know where to start.
Mourners say the Oscar-winning actress paused to give her mother a final kiss during the service, and that the family remained composed.
I cannot imagine how she feels. I would never know that, you know.
It's very hurting to know that someone would kill a 7-year-old. And what have he done to anyone in his whole lifetime for them to kill him?
As Jennifer disappeared from the public eye, the case against her family's killer was only beginning, and it was going to be harder than she could have imagined.
That there is no physical evidence to connect William Balfour to the murders of Darnell Donnerson, Jason Hudson, and Julian King.
The DNA on the murder weapon doesn't match Balfour's.
Defense argues investigators wrongfully zeroed in on Balfour because they had a high-profile case on their hands and needed a suspect.
We are extremely confident that once all of the evidence has come to light, that William will be found not guilty.
My mom used to say, Jenny, one of my favorite things about you is that no matter how negative things are, you always seem to find a positive. And I remember thinking in that moment, like, how am I supposed to find a positive in this? I'd wake up depressed for almost 2 weeks straight inside one room. I was pretty much secluded from everything that was going on. I didn't watch any TV. I didn't want to even know what was going on because I had more than enough to deal with. I remember being asked to do a film around that same time, and I was like, I have to get adjusted to who I am now. So I can't be another character if I don't know who I am.
As the trial date was getting closer, Jennifer was asked to perform at the Grammys. It would be one of her first public appearances in 2 months. But what made things worse was the reality that in just a few days, she would be celebrating her brother's birthday without him.
It's killing us to even face the holidays and the birthdays. When you lose loved ones, you don't want to see a birthday come. I can't do this anymore. I don't sit still very well, and I knew if I sit here and dwell on it, it's going to be harder.
She decided to step out and do what her family loved to see her do, sing. But before that, she's caught off guard by a welcomed surprise.
Jennifer Hudson.
I don't really think it was the Grammy itself. I just think it was more of a moment in her life that she won't forget.
Wow, I'm just in awe right now. I would like to thank my family in heaven and those who are here today. Wow.
But the most emotional part of the night was her performance. Amidst the pain, Jennifer sings for the family she lost.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jennifer Hudson.
I could hear my brother in my head, like, Jennifer, you need to kill this.
I was out in the cold. Nothing could heal this hole in my soul.
You need to get up and do you. I knew he would be disappointed if I didn't do it justice.
You reached out your arms to me, held out your heart to me, thought I'd reach the end.
God never gives you anything that you can't handle. And again, this isn't a religious thing, but you go like, wow, he's allowing her to handle it tonight. He's allowing her to still have a sweet taste in her mouth after all of these bitter things.
Towards the end, it was hard. I mean, because I'm always emotional, and I've had to work on that. And my mama it used to irritate her so of, Jenny, why you always gotta be crying when you get up there to sing? What are you crying for? I was definitely thinking of my family when I was singing that song. That's what I was thinking. Really cannot put into words how special of a moment that was for me. It was like, if there could be anything to lift me up, that would be it. So often we get lost. Music is like home. You know, it's that base, and anytime you're lost, anytime you're trying to find your way, anytime you're scared, you run home.
Jennifer felt her family was still with her, cheering her on and giving her the strength to move forward.
I can hear him saying to me, Jenny, knock it off. Like right now, my mama be fussing at me. Why you always crying? Stop crying. My brother telling me, Jenny, knock it off. You gotta keep going. And so the only thing I can do to honor their memory is to make them proud. And that's what keeps me going.
And I haven't been to the gravesite since we buried them. I can't come back here empty-handed.
To make sure her family gets justice, Jennifer decides it's finally time to face their killer.
In a stunning move, prosecutors launched their case Monday with the witness that had the highest profile, Jennifer Hudson.
Witnesses like this, when you don't have physical evidence such as DNA or fingerprints or gunshot residue, those are things that are super important.
She's a surviving member of the family that would testify about the family members that were murdered in this particular case.
The high-profile trial attracted a swarm of media. The cameras are not allowed in the courtroom.
Although Jennifer is a primary witness for the case, her testimony, while beneficial, could backfire on the prosecution's case.
We are all killing ourselves if you don't think the celebrity of someone like Jennifer Hudson won't affect just the people in that courtroom.
If the jurors feel that she is overreacting or acting in any way, it will hurt.
I don't like the idea of being boxed into anything. This is who you are, this is what you're gonna be. No, in my world, there's no limit. Nobody gets to determine that for me.
In the summer of 2006, did you learn that your sister Julia was dating somebody?
Yeah, I eventually learned that Julia and William were dating shortly after he resurfaced to the neighborhood. None of us wanted her to marry him. I would tell her over and over again not to marry William. We did not like how he treated her, and I didn't like how he treated my nephew.
Everything that was said in trial about me making threats or anything like that, it was all new to me.
And you don't know who did it?
No.
Or you're just not willing to say?
No, it's nothing like that. It's nothing like that.
It's very responsible. I'm not letting them off the hook for anything.
Jennifer is trying to say that this is not a crime that will go unpunished. This is not another nameless, faceless crime that nobody pays attention to.
She helped set the time of this crime. There was a habit between her and her mother that, Mom would always text her. That coupled with all of the other witnesses in the case and the cell tower analysis done with the defendant in that area at the time these horrific crimes were being committed.
So many compelling pieces of circumstantial evidence, but when you put it all together, you know exactly what the picture is.
William Balfour guilty of murdering Hudson's mother, brother, and 7-year-old nephew.
Judge Burns said, "Your heart is an Arctic night, and your soul is as barren as dark space."
Why was it so important for you to be there each and every day?
That's very easy to answer. My mother would have been there, so I had to be there every step of the way. Both of us did, and to honor them. But that was the only thing to be done, was to be there. So nothing else mattered. We had to be there.
After sending William to prison, Jennifer felt she could finally see her family.
Now I want to go because I felt like, okay.
To stand above the grave.
Right. I've accomplished this. We've done this. We got justice. So I came back with justice being served. So now I feel like I deserve to be able to see them.
Every day, it's not a day go by that I don't hear my mother in my head. That's what I live by, and everything I do, I try to reflect and know, to be sure that she's proud of me. That's what keeps me going, knowing that I know she's proud of me.
The trauma of my mother's death is not the story of her life.
Jeinniffer Hudson just couldn't hold back the tears. A mayoral proclamation naming this Julian King Day in Chicago. For the second straight year, through a foundation named for Julian, the Hudson sisters distributed school supplies to needy kids at the Kroc Center in West Pullman to honor Julian's memory.
I just want to make sure that, we just remember him, and it's a healing process for all of us. I feel like as though we have like a new beginning, and it's beautiful. We're still blessed, and we've had our loss, but we're finding our way.
Your mother, do you think about her?
You know what?
This is all
Today
happening?
is my mother's birthday.
Oh, wow.
She used to write me letters when I was away. She said, of all these things you've done, my favorite part is the person you are and your character. I've seen the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows. We have no choice but to go on. The best way to keep going is to honor their memories and to live in the way they wanted you to live. You've been blessed with life, so live it.